Hey guys and girls, welcome to another Sunday afternoon chat on another summertime day here in Oklahoma. Beautiful day, but 95 degrees. We've got probably 100 degrees coming before the afternoon is over. A couple, 2 or 3 more 100-degree days. And we're going to have a couple of weeks of nice weather where the highs are in the lower 80s to the middle 80s to the low 90s. And anytime you're 92, 93 or below in July or August in Oklahoma, and southern Oklahoma in particular, that's nice. That's very, very nice. And so we thank God for that. Just got home from church. Had a great church. We prayed for America here at church this morning. I believe that America is a nation that was founded under God. It was founded under the principles of God, and we need to be praying for America. I witnessed as a young man, a young boy, the assassination of the killing of a great American president, Kennedy. I was shocked when that happened. I watched the assassination of another great American patriot, Martin Luther King. I watched Bobby Kennedy get killed. So all that happened on television. Didn't see it happen live. Saw attempts on presidents' lives happen live on television. And yesterday, as I was visiting on the telephone with Chad Roy, who is one of the quantum scientists that developed humus oil, which is a product that I'm just doing some experimenting around with and might get on the sustainable green team with humus oil. It's a product that regenerates soil, creates water in the soil underground, and very likely it's already in 16 or 17 countries. Just getting started here in America, but it is a product that may save the world from starvation. It might produce food in deserts, stuff like that. But anyway, I was talking to him about all of the quantum science involved in that. I'm involved in quantum science a little bit with the innate state patch and the photons that are in our body, and lighting those photons up to make everything go better health-wise. And we live in a balanced world. God created things balanced inside our body, outside of our body, in the water, in the soil, in the air, in the atmosphere, on the planets, in the stars, everywhere. God created everything in order. And I was visiting with him about the humus oil, and the television was on. The sound was turned down, and I just was glancing up every now and then, and as I glanced up, former President Trump, Donald Trump, and I spent a day with Donald Trump at the White House in Washington a couple, 2 or 3 years ago, or I guess over 4 years ago now, when he was president. I've met pretty much every president since Jimmy Carter to now, with the exception of 2 of them. Fished with some of them, and President Trump couldn't have been a greater host. He couldn't have been any more personable, couldn't have been any more presidential, couldn't have been any nicer. I was there for a day that was Made in America Day, where we were celebrating great products that are made in America. And I was there representing a great boat company that was founded and started right here in America by Mr. Forrest Wood, Ranger Boat Company. And when I got to visit with President Trump about that Ranger boat, he said, "And this boat, Jimmy, is made right here in America." I said, "Yes, sir, it is. Yes, sir, it is." And not only is this boat made right here in America, this trailer that it's on, this Ranger Trail trailer, is made over in Flippin, Arkansas. That trolling motor that's up in the front of it is made in Minnesota. That big Mercury motor on the back of it is made in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Those locators that are on here are made in Kansas City, Missouri, and Tulsa, Oklahoma. Everything that's on this boat is made in America. These are proud, great American companies that have become dominant and iconic companies in the fishing industry. Of course, President Trump doesn't fish, and so his son Donald Jr. and Eric, his son-in-law, would probably understand everything I was talking about. He didn't necessarily understand it, but he did understand when I told him that there was an F-4 fighter jet, a Lockheed Martin F-4 fighter jet, parked right beside me on the White House lawn, and where they had parked the Ranger boat for me to be with during the day. And I told him, "By the way, Mr. President, this Ranger boat will outrun that jet." he looked at me and he said, "I don't think so, Jimmy. I don't think so." And I said, "Well, it will if you put it on out there on that Potomac River. It'll outrun it on that river." And he said, "Well, I suppose it would." And I was actually thinking of when Captain Scully landed that jet and saved all those people's lives on the Hudson River. And I just got the Potomac River and the Hudson River messed up in my mind when it caused me to say that. It's something just come off the cuff, and I said. But he couldn't have been any more congenial. He spent the entire day with all of us that was there, and couldn't have been nicer, couldn't have been more friendly. And yet, as I was talking to Chad Roy yesterday and had the television on, I saw the president as he was talking and looking around and talking about a video, I guess, up there. And I couldn't hear because I had the sound turned down, just watching the picture. And as I watched, I saw him reach up and grab his ear and then go to the ground. And I told Chad, I said, "Chad, I've got my television on. I think the president just got shot. Either that or maybe a red hornet or a red wasp or something bit him on the ear. You know, I live in the country. We get bit and stung by bees and wasps and yellow jackets all the time." And I said, or something bit him on the ear. And then, of course, within seconds, I realized that, sure enough, he had been shot. And I've seen assassinations. A lot of y'all are not old enough to have seen assassinations here in our country. Many of y'all are. We've had several more that were near misses. Governor Wallace down in Alabama, and who was paralyzed because of that. The congressman that was shot at the softball game or baseball game, I guess it was, in Washington, D.C. I did meet him while I was up there that day as well. Very, very nice gentleman. So we've had a lot of attempted assassinations also. But we need to be praying for America. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or independent, and I've had a few comments lately on my social media, not many because we get thousands and thousands of comments, and almost every one of them are positive. The ones that are negative, I'm just as nice as I can be to the world on them, and they quit griping. I'm so nice, they just quit commenting and go somewhere else, I guess, and make dirty remarks for somebody else. But I had a couple here the other day. Some of y'all said, "Stay in your lane, Jimmy. Just stay in your lane. You're a fisherman. You're not a politician." And you're right. I'm not a politician. Never run for any political office, not even in high school or college. I do have a degree in political science from college and a degree in economics, so I'm really heavily involved in politics. Like I said, I've met most all of the presidents that we've had since Jimmy Carter, with the exception of 2 of them, and taken some of them fishing. I've taken governors fishing, United States senators, congressmen, all kinds of politicians fishing. Been around politicians all my life. That helped with fundraisers for various people. Was actually going to spend a week with Jeb Bush in South Carolina when he was running for president. I was going to spend a week with him campaigning. I met Jeb when his dad, George H., was vice president under Ronald Reagan. That's how much I'm involved in politics, and I think we all ought to be involved in politics. People say, "Well, I go to the YouTube channels and watch the deer and watch people fish and all of this to get away from all that crap, to get away from the news of the world." Well, it'd be nice if we could get away from the news of the world, but we can't. It affects everything that we do, and we need to be more involved in the news of the world. We don't have much of a choice out here in America. Our only choice is to vote. Most of the states we vote in, doesn't matter how we vote on a national level, we can vote for the Democrat or the Republican or the Independent, and our state is going to elect whatever, a Democrat, a Republican, or an Independent, irrespective of what our vote is, and he's going to do it by landslide. Here in Oklahoma, we're very, very conservative, and I am a registered Democrat. I'll just go ahead and say that. I probably shouldn't have. I've said that. I haven't said that, and I've said it'd be hard-pressed for people to tell whether I'm a Democrat, or Republican, or an Independent. But I am conservative. I am extremely conservative. I voted for Governor Brad Henry here in Oklahoma, not once but twice. He was our governor 8 years, a Democrat. At the same time I was voting for him, I voted for Mary Fallin, who was a Republican, for lieutenant governor. And during Brad Henry's governorship, Mary Fallin was the lieutenant governor here in Oklahoma. So we had both a Democrat and a Republican at the top level in this state. I then voted for Mary Fallin as governor of Oklahoma. So I vote the individual. The first time that our current governor ran, I did not vote for him. I voted for a buddy of mine who was running against him that was a friend of mine in college, and Democrat. And his family, the Edmondson family, had been great. I voted for his dad and his uncle here in Oklahoma back in my earlier, younger years, and I voted for him for governor really because he was one of my buddies in college, and I felt like if I was running for governor, he'd probably vote for me. And that may not be a great reason to vote for somebody for governor, but the second time that Governor Stitt ran, I voted for him. So I voted Democrat and Republican. So before y'all start jumping on to me about being whatever, I am conservative. I make no apology about that. I believe in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I believe in God. I believe we are a godly nation. I believe we should have the 10 Commandments posted everywhere. You've heard me say many, many times that they should teach Proverbs in school. They should teach Proverbs in school. I've been saying that for 20 or 30 or 40 years. The book of Proverbs, that's right, from the Holy Bible. And if kids would learn those Proverbs, many of them would take them to heart, many of them would live by them, and we'd have a better country. We'd have a better educational system, we'd have smarter kids, we'd have less crime, we'd have greater percentages of marriages that make it, we'd have less divorces, we would have all kinds of things if they just teach Proverbs in school. But back to this deal on this assassination. I was brokenhearted when the assassination of John Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy and Martin Luther King happened, when George Wallace was shot in Alabama, when Martin Luther King was killed, when Ronald Reagan was shot, on and on and on. An innocent person was killed yesterday by some person that was using politics to create hate in their own mind somehow. Is the individual crazy? I don't have any idea. I haven't even heard the name or know anything about it. The last I heard last night or this morning before I went to church was some 20-year-old guy from Pennsylvania. That's all I know about him. So as this chat goes out, y'all probably know a whole lot more than I do about it. But killed an innocent bystander, somebody that was there, used his body to shield his family when the bullets started ringing out. And 2 other people, I guess, are critically injured from what I understand. And the President of the United States has a bullet hole in his ear. I told my preacher this morning that President Trump, for the last several years, has professed being a saved, born-again Christian, professed being a godly man. Many of y'all have said, he's not a Christian, he's just doing that for political purposes. Well, I don't know. But I got to tell you, I told my preacher, Donald Trump is not a godly man, not a saved, born-again Christian. After what happened yesterday, he certainly is. When a bullet, and I guess they said it was an AK-47 or an assault rifle, so it was probably a 5.6, 223. And it looked like about the size bullet hole in his ear when I saw it happen yesterday. If he's not a godly man, he certainly ought to be now, because by the grace of God, our former president, wasn't killed. And all I'm saying, and y'all can write me some nasty letters and talk to me about, how Biden didn't have anything to do with it, and he probably didn't, and probably didn't know anything about it at all. But but we have a federal government that has been weaponized against conservatives, against moms and dads that go to school board meetings, been weaponized against patriots that love America. Been weaponized against people that shop at Bass Pro Shop and Walmart. I don't trust the FBI. I don't trust the Justice Department. When I woke Chris up yesterday and told her the president had been shot, but he's okay. The former president had been shot, but he's okay. And she said, well, who shot him? And I said, well, they don't know yet, but the man was killed within seconds. And as I looked at that last night, I don't know, there might have been a lot more said about it today. I don't have any idea. But as I looked at that last night, I thought, how in the world is the Secret Service, the FBI, the Secret Service, how in the world do they kill a man within seconds, which is, I guess it was that fast, within seconds of him shooting into the president's rally, at the president, hitting the president? How do they kill him within seconds without stopping him from doing that a few seconds or a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes before that? individuals that I saw yesterday evening were talking about they saw the man crawling, army style, in the ground with a shotgun strapped over his shoulder. Saw him crawling up the building. They've told the police, the man's got a gun crawling up that building. Why they let the president, why didn't they get him off the stage? At the second they found that out, I don't know. I don't know. I do know that several states tried to keep Donald Trump off of the ballot. That's totally un-American, totally undemocratic. That's done in foreign countries, banana republics, communist countries, Marxist countries. They then filed all kinds of, and again, Democrat prosecuting attorneys filed charges against him in several states of all kinds of various things. One of them was taking classified documents to his home in Florida, which is the exact same thing that almost every president that we've had has done. And we didn't know that, but we found that out through all of these investigations, including the current president who took classified information to his home when he's the vice president. And the vice president's not allowed to do that. The president is allowed to take classified information to his home, as President Barack Obama did, President Bill Clinton, George W. Bush. I guess they went back several presidents, and they had all done that. But yet only one of them is being prosecuted. So they tried to prosecute him, and many people have said, will they try to kill him? Will they try to kill him? Well, one man did try to kill him. Was it a conspiracy? Did the federal government have anything to do with it? Did politics have anything to do with it? Well, in some way it did. But it just, you know, as I saw it last night, and maybe there's a better explanation for it now, but I wondered, how in the world do they kill a sniper, which is what he was, a pretty good shot too, you know, a pretty good shot. You know, I saw the bullet hole right there in the earlobe. If you get shot anywhere in your body, that might be the best place in the world to get shot, right there. A lot of people actually poke holes in their ears right there anyway. And women do it all the time. And then some guys do it to act like women. They've poked holes in their ears. But he had a bullet hole right through his ear. How it happened and didn't kill him was only by the grace of God. The grace of God, the same grace that covers up your sins and my sins. The same grace of God saved former President Trump's life yesterday. You know, I told my preacher this morning, when I shoot wild hogs here on the ranch with a .22 rifle, if they turn sideways, that's where I shoot them, right in the ear. I aim right for the center of their ear. And a .22 rifle, which is a little tiny bullet, you can shoot that hog 20 times with it and he's going to run off. But you put one right in his ear, he drops down. A 400-pound hog will drop down with just that one little tiny bullet. A 223 is a much larger shell than that. It does a lot more damage. The bigger the bullets you get, the more damaging they are when they hit whether they're being shot at or whatever they accidentally hit. But for that bullet to have gone through his ear and not somehow went into his head is simply a grace of God. And like I said, if Donald Trump wasn't a true believer before last night, I'm sure he woke up or went to bed last night as a true 100% believer in God Almighty. But the one thing I want to say is God's on the throne. Our God that we serve, our God that we trust our life to every day as we walk through this earth, our God that we trust our eternity to 1,000 years, 10,000 years from now, our God is still on the throne. The Bible tells us that God puts powers and principalities into office. God does that. God put individuals in office that oppose his children, the Israelites. The Pharaohs put them in bondage and slavery. Slavery, it's what bondage is. Slavery for over 400 years for disobedience. He put them in slavery another time for over 40 years for disobedience. And God is controlling the people that run this country. The good ones, the mediocre ones, the bad ones. God's responsible for allowing all of them to get in office. He could stop any of them at any time. God could stop me right here as I'm talking, just stop my very next breath, and I'd fall to the ground, and this thing would run till it run out of power. Yeah, that's exactly what would happen. But God controls our very next breath. He controls the next breaths of President Biden, President Trump, all of those congressmen, all of those senators that are making laws for you and I to abide by, raising taxes for you and I to pay, on and on and on. But let's pray for America, and let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this evil vitriol, evil talk and language and things that we do because of politics. Yeah, I disagree with a lot of things that liberals believe nowadays. They certainly disagree with a lot of things I agree with. But we can talk about that. And for the most part, I've accepted pretty much everything that the liberals believe in, including all of the transformations of people's bodies and everything, and whether they wanted to call themselves a boy or a girl or a race car or a horse or a cat or a dog. They can do that just as long as they just don't do it to children, is the way I think about it. But let's get rid of this evil. Let's get rid of this taking politics to an evil point. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican or an independent, get involved in politics, vote whatever you believe, and for whomever you believe in. Make sure that your thoughts and your beliefs and your ideology lines up with whomever you're voting for. Don't vote for him because he has an R behind his name. Don't vote for him because he has a D or an I behind his name, either one. Or he doesn't have anything behind his name. Find out what he or she believes in. Make sure they believe in the same things that you believe in. One of the things that I've always said, it is good to put an outdoorsman, somebody that likes to fish and hunt, in a political office, whether it be a local mayor or all the way up to the president of the United States. Is it really, if you got somebody that likes to hunt and fish, you know where his moral and ethical values are for the most part. And they're pretty doggone good, because that's just the way hunters and fishermen are. But make sure you vote. Vote however way you want. But let's get rid of this where families hate each other because of a political belief, because they can't agree with who you voted for governor or mayor or your congressman or president, because they don't like the way liberals think, or they don't like the way conservative thinks. And so for that, they'll make water thicker than blood. You know, all my life I've heard the old saying that blood's thicker than water. And what's that mean is family trumps everything. Well, we've got to the point in this country in a lot of situations where family does not trump politics, where people don't talk to each other in the same family sometimes, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, grandkids, grandfathers, grandsons, aunts, uncles, don't talk to each other sometimes because they believe a different thing. One's a conservative, one's a liberal, one's an independent, or whatever. One's down the middle of the road, but the other's so far to the left or right that they can't agree. And evil jumps in there. The devil loves it. The devil says, "Oh, great, I've got this right here." You know, we do the same thing. We do the same thing in sports. We do it right here in Oklahoma. I'm an Oklahoma University guy. Everybody knows that. Got lots and lots of friends that are Oklahoma State. We play them in all kinds of sports called Bedlam here in Oklahoma. The Bedlam game, whatever sport they're playing, Bedlam. And we're going to a different conference. We've already gone to the different conference. Went there this month as SEC. But we're still looking forward to playing Oklahoma State and a lot of stuff. It's Bedlam. But, you know, we don't hate each other. And you can't hardly get more passionate about anything other than college sports. I mean, that's about the most passionate you can become. But I don't hate Oklahoma State people, and they don't hate Oklahoma people, Oklahoma University people. We're all Oklahoma people. That's the deal. That's the deal. Can I tell you, if you're a Democrat, you're an American. If you're a Republican, you're an American. If you're an independent, you're an American. And I also have lived long enough to remember that when we elected a president, my dad voted Democrat, every president that I can ever remember him telling me that he voted for. He didn't tell me on all of them he voted for, but he voted for a Democrat on every one of them that I knew that he voted for. But when the Republicans got elected, my dad prayed for them. My dad was a deacon in a Baptist church. My dad prayed for him. My dad prayed that he would be the very best president America ever had. I've actually, as I walked through the house after I got home from church, I saw where some aide in Congress had been removed of his job, aide of a congressman, removed of his job because he said he didn't condone political violence, but he wished that the shooter would take some target practice and be a better shot next time. That's the kind of evil, the kind of hate that the devil jumps up and down about and runs around and does somersaults. Oh my gosh, my gosh. Probably not the only person in America that thought that. Gosh, I wish that guy was a better shot. Probably what some of them thought or said. That guy put it out on social media, you know. It was on TV as I walked by, and I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. And some congressman, I don't even know if it was a Democrat or Republican congressman, it's some congressman's aide. They said he had been fired, or her, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, but let's get rid of that stuff. And whomever we elect this fall as president, honestly, it might not be either one of the two guys that's running right now. But whomever we elect as president this fall, if you want to be a man's man, if you want to be a woman's woman, you want to be an American, if you want to be an American, if you don't want to be an American, I suggest you leave. Yeah, I suggest you leave this country. But if you want to be an American, whomever we elect this fall, and like I said, who knows? It might not even be either one of the two that's running right now. Let's get behind that individual as our president, the president of the United States of America, which we're a part of. I was born here. My citizenship came by birth, by an American mom and daddy, and I'm proud of it. I'll fight for it. I'll die for it. And yeah, I'll argue for my beliefs as much as anybody in the world. I've got a political science degree, so I can be a pretty good arguer sometime. I'll never disown you. I'll never disown you for your beliefs, no matter how much different than they may be in mine. So whomever we elect for president, Republican, Democrat, Independent, let's get behind that individual, man or woman. Let's get behind that individual and pray for them every night that they be the best presidents ever. And you know what might happen if we did that? If we have half the country praying for President Biden when he was president, or now he is president, and we had half the country praying for President Trump when he was president, just think if we had all of the country praying for either one of them, how much better America might be, because God will bless America when we honor him. We put it, we sing it in our songs, we say it every day. The politicians say it at the end of almost every speech. God bless America. God bless America. When I'm in Texas, I say Boomer Sooner. God bless Texas. God bless America. So, instead of getting ugly, if your guy or woman does not win come election in November, when you talk to God every day, several times a day, many of you, pray for that president. Pray for that president. And mean it. When you're asking God, ask God to make that president the best president that America's ever had. And whomever is the president, neither one of these guys that are president right now, if it does end up being one of those two, will be able to run again. But whoever it is, the president, you pray for that president, and they comes around for re-election. If you don't think they've done the job, vote for the other person. That's the way it is. We've got only one vote in whatever state we have, with the exception of 6 or 7 states. We know Oklahoma's going to, the Republican, you know, George W. Bush won Oklahoma 83%, when he was a higher percentage than he had in his own state out of Texas. Oklahoma's going to vote conservative, period. California's going to vote liberal, period. New York's going to vote liberal. There'll be areas of those states, all of them, where they'll have liberals and conservatives both. Democrats and Republicans and independents representing them, and that's great. That's America. That's America. God bless America. If I think about it, while I'm on this soapbox, next Sunday I might talk to you about our education superintendent here in Oklahoma, who must have heard me say one time we ought to teach Proverbs in school. He is mandated, which I don't know that he's got the constitutional right to do it, but I'm 100% for him. He's mandated that the Bible be taught in schools here in Oklahoma. One school system, a big school system, probably the 3rd or 4th largest school system in the state, has just balked and said they wouldn't do it. They shook their fist at Almighty God. I heard one of them say, I'm not a theologian. They need to leave that up to the preachers. Well, I'm not a theologian either, but I talk about Jesus Christ every day. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if we're going to teach the Bible in Oklahoma schools or not. He said, we've been doing it this way for 30 years that I've been teaching, and we're not going to change anything. Well, can I tell you, Oklahoma's about number 47 or 48 in education here in the nation. So we ought to change something no matter what it is. Even if it's wrong, we ought to make changes. Teaching the Bible in school would be a pretty good way to start. And I know some of you are going to jump onto me about that. Can I tell you, even atheists would live their life better if they studied the book of Proverbs and took some of those things to heart. Even if they didn't believe in God, they would be better. And the kids, when those kids get in there and learn what's in Proverbs, they're gonna be smarter kids. They're gonna be better kids. Gonna be better adults. One of those kids from Oklahoma that's in school right now might be running for president of the United States not too far in the distant future, right here in this country. So guys and girls, I'm proud to be an American. I am so proud to be an American. You know, I stood on the stage just outside of Nashville one time with a man named Lee Greenwood and Johnny Morris, founder of Bass Pro Shop, my buddy Roland Martin, and another guy named Tony Orlando. You remember Tony Orlando and Don? And I got to sing with Lee Greenwood, God Bless the USA. Out of all those people on that stage, I know one couldn't sing. That was me. Not sure about Johnny. I couldn't hear Johnny. They probably had his microphone turned off as well. Roland can sing. He's not Lee Greenwood or Tony Orlando's class. But I got to sing God Bless the USA. Lots of people out there. Big auditorium full of people or big tent full of people. Big crowd around. When I got to sing God Bless the USA with Lee Greenwood, Tony Orlando, Johnny Morris, Roland Martin. Great, great Americans, each one of them. Tears run down my face. So much I love this country. Can I tell you? You need to love it just as much. And if you don't, you need to leave. God bless America. And remember, guys and girls, I sure do love you.